Well, 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 well. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Workstation Wednesday, where today we will be, excuse me, we will be working on the design of our Booknook that we started last week. So, if I just jump right into it, let's see here. We're at AutoCAD, or Autodesk. Tinkercad, my bad. This is a free, open to anybody, really. You can sign in with your Google account or Facebook, or create a new account if you want. But it's pretty easy. It's very basic. A lot of people use Blender or something like that. This is just a web browser that anybody can use, that you can log into and get access to. When you start up a new design, we're going to close this. When you start up a new design, and I'm going to change this down here to inches just to be easier for myself. And then the block width, we're going to make it 12. So we're going to make this a 12 by 12 grid. Now, when we put a block on here, it'll be a single square, which is a 1-inch square, right? So in between here, there's 8, right? There's 8 sections in this particular one. So we're just going to go ahead and put this in here like that. So since it's moving 1/8 of an inch, and each of the blocks are 1/8 of an inch, you can kind of see it as we move it. If we move it, see it goes 1 square. That's kind of what we want to do here. So I think, where did I put that book at? Oh, here it is. Sorry about that. Okay. So for our Booknook, we're going to want our, let me just move this forward a little bit. So, so to get what we want to have actually an inch tall base. So we're building the base first, and we want it to be 4. Oops, that's too far. Right there. We want it to be 4.5. 4.5. So that's how wide it is. That's going to be 3 of those tiles, as I showed before. Now, the next part that we need, it needs to be 7.5 inches long. So this is going to be pretty long, 7.5, just like that. So we have a 7.5 by 4.5 by, I don't know if I can, right here, by 1 inch tall. Now, we don't want this whole thing to be to be our big old block. It's way too big, and it's way too much FDM for us to print. Filament, sorry. So we're just going to Control C this square and Control P, or Control V, sorry. So now we have another square exactly like it, but we're going to change the color to be like a light blue. Just something so we can see the difference. And now if you look at this, there's this one, which will increase the height. But then there's this one, which will raise it off the ground. Now, for right now, we're just going to make it so they're a little bit not touching each other, right? So we have that. And we're going to line them up again once they line up. There we go. So see, now the two pieces are lined up with one another. Now, we're going to want this to be 1/8 inch in, just like that. So then we're going to come over here. Move it over 1/8 of an inch. Come over here. Do the same for this. I think that's too far, but we'll fix that in a bit. And then that one's fixed. So let's go ahead and move this one back up. There we go. So right now we have an 1/8 of an inch on each of these sides. Pretty simple, right? But now the part that we want, so we're going to take this again and push it all the way to the ground. So on the right hand side, you see it says 1/8 and 0. So now this is flat with the bed. So what we're going to do, just to make this a little easier, we're going to pull this up a bit. Doesn't really matter how much, but then we're going to change this to whole, just like that. So now what we have is we have our box, which is 7.5 by 4.5, and it's 1/8 of an inch thick, and so are the walls, and so is the actual bed. So now, what we've been doing, right, is we've been making it we've been making it so this is the bottom. So this is where the batteries will go to power the lights that we have, all that kind of stuff. The top is actually down here. That's where we'll be gluing our 3 by 5, I think. 3 by 5. I think it is. Hold on, let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5. Yeah, 3 by 5 of our squares for our dungeon tile. So that's this piece. Very easy, very simple. Yeah, it's pretty simple. I'll save this, and I'll show you maybe at the end of the video what it looks like in the actual 3D and not in this, so you can actually see what the file looks like itself. But after we're done, all we need to do is export it, and it'll download it to our click STL file, and it'll download it to our folder. So we can go ahead and close that, and then we can get started on a new project. So what we can do is we can click on this. We want a new design. And so now what we need to do is we need to do the 2 walls. So there's going to be 2 walls on the side, and then there's going to be a wall on the back and then a ceiling. But this is going to be, oops, hold on. Oh, we got to get rid of that. We got to change the grid. I forgot we have to change the grid every time. So let's do this. 12, 12. All right. Then we throw in a block. Now, this is going to be the 2 walls, right, as I mentioned. And we're going to have 2 of them. So we really will just have to make 1. And then we'll mirror it in our printing application. And I'll show you that later when we actually do the Cura. So this is actually going to be very, very big. I have a pretty big print platform on my bed on the Anycubic X. It's actually it's almost a 12 by 12 print platform, so I can get away with the it being larger. But print to whatever your sizes can accommodate for your printer. Let's put it right there, actually. Okay, so we have 7.5, and then we're going to actually need the ceilings, the walls, I should say, to be 9 inches total, actually. So right there. But we don't want a thick, a very thick wall, right? We're going to actually want these to be just a 1/4 of an inch. No, actually, let's go 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch. This is pretty small, pretty thin, but that's good. We don't really want it to be huge, humongous. So there's our wall, but now we're not completely done because we need there to be something for us to have access to when we are, putting in lights. And I don't want to drill into this just to put into lights. So we'll actually, since we're here, we might as well design our light holes that will be for the lights. So we're going to take a 1-inch block. We're going to change the color just to make it different, so we know. And then what we're going to do is we're going to shrink it into let's make a, well, 1/4 is probably a little too small. 3/8 of an inch. You know what? Let's do 1/4. 1/4 is probably fine. So then what we'll do is we'll shrink the top of it. It doesn't need to be so tall. Just something that's taller. Something that's taller than our actual. There. Something that's taller than this piece over here. So then, what we're going to do is we're going to copy, Control C, Control V. We're going to do this 4 times. Alright, so we have our 4 posts, or 4 light sources. That means we'll have a total of 8 lights on the entire project. Now, the next thing is where it gets a little tricky, right? So where are we going to put these at is the key. And if we remember to when we just built the base has a 1 inch rise before it gets to it, and if I want 1 inch of this glued onto the other one to really ensure the bond of the base and the wall, and the walls, we're gonna have to keep that into our accommodation, which means we only really have 8 inches of working space up here. So what we're gonna do is we're actually going to put one there. Yeah, let's put one right there. Could we put one right here? Actually, yeah, we could do something like, no. We could do that one. That one. That's a little far over to the side, but it'll be close to the beginning, and they're equally equidistant apart from one another. And actually, you know what? That's actually probably pretty good, because back here will be the mirror, and the mirror will be at an angle. So this actually might work out pretty well. That actually might work out pretty well. Now, granted, these are just going to be holes in the wall, and we'll have to build brick around them anyway. So even if this isn't where we're going to want our lights, it's just a good starting point, and we won't have to dig them out. Okay, so then you can select all of them at once, right? You can select all of them at once, and then that will give us our all three. So when we move them, they're not going to be like uneven, basically. So if we said we want 1 inch for the base, so that's right here. So our starting point is really this brick right here. And since we only have 8 inches to work with, we might as well split it in half, and we have 4 inches, right? So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, this is the 4th inch, and we kind of want them taller, right? So we'll put them right at the top of this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. So we'll take it, and we'll move them 0 on the axis there, and there we go. There we have it. Now we'll have our just have to turn these into holes, so we cut it out. There we go. So now we have our floor and our two walls. And this one again, we'll just have to mirror it. So when we print it, you can either mirror it or just flip or print 2 and then flip one over. But I kind of want them to look exactly the same, so like the finish is on the right side, the correct side. So again, we'll just export this, get the STL file, it'll download it for us. So now we have 2 pieces done. Then we'll click on this, and then the last piece that we need to finish is the wall itself. We got to update the grid just like we did before. Go to inches, change this to, change that to 12. Pretty easy stuff here. And now we have the ceiling. Now the ceiling, we're going to want to connect all of the pieces together, right? So this is going to glue on the outer edge of all of them, keeping them all together. So if our base, here we go, if we do this, if we go, our base is 4, our base is 4.5, right? So we know that. We know our base is 4.5. But something that we could do, it's pretty easy, right? Is we have 1/8 of an inch, right, for our walls, and another 1/8 of an inch for our other wall. So that gives us to 4 3/4. So this is really helpful that we built it on here. That's 1/8, so we know exactly what we need. We got to the base, then we added 1/8 on each side. Now you could just have done this straight up 3/4, but just in case it's a little difficult for you or you don't know how to, this is one way that we can actually do that. Now the same will go for the wall. So the wall will be 9 inches, exactly as we had for the previous one. So this is going to be 9 inches there. And then we'll put that down to 1/8. So now this will go on the back of our Booknook. This is like the back of it, right? But it covers both the floor, and it will cover 1/8 of the ceiling, or 1/8 of the walls. And then it will rise all the way up to get our 1/8 on top, which we'll make that next. So I actually, well, that's fine. We'll do that. So anyway, it's 3/4, right? Or sorry, 3/4, and then we'll have 9 inches because that's how tall our Booknook is. But 1 inch of it will be on the base. So we don't need to do anything special with this because it will be covered by a mirror anyway. So we can just export this one, real easy, real quick. This one's piece of cake. Now we have one more design that we need. This one will be the roof or the ceiling or whatever you want to call it. This will be the last one. So inches, we got 12. There we go. Put a block on there. And the same the same concept for this one, right? It has to be 4.5 inches to start. Oops. 4.5. There you go. But then we need to add 1/8 of an inch to each side for our walls, giving us the 3/4 of an inch. Now, the thing that this one is it's not going to be 9 inches long, right? This is actually going to be only only as long as our floor was, except 1/8 of an inch longer. So we need to make this one 7.5 inches, and then to accommodate for our back wall, we add 1/8 of an inch. So there we go. So then this one becomes 7 3/8. Wait, did I do that right? Hold on. Yeah, that's right. Okay, just wanted to make sure. And then this goes down to 1/8, and there it is. So that's going to be our wall, or our ceiling. Sorry, our ceiling. And we have all the pieces. So yeah, that's those. And in one moment, I'll show you all the 3D renderings of this. So just 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. As you can see here, this is our wall. So our wall will be printed, or not printed, but mirror imaged when we print the other side. But so one side is longer than the other. We have to keep that in mind. So this side is the bottom, this side is the top, just to keep it, just so everybody knows. But that's how we're going to have to copy over that. How we're going to get the, the correct proportions that we need. And if we open up the next piece, this is one of our floor pieces. This is our ceiling. And then the last piece, this is our base. So it looks like a tray because it kind of is. This will contain our AA batteries inside of here, and they'll be wired into all the other lights. But this will actually be the top of where we glue our base. So yeah, that's everything. In the next video, I'll probably show how I print them off in my settings and my Cura, and then we'll see if they work to print these off. I'm pretty positive they'll print off. There might be some warping. If there's some warping, we'll have to address that when we get there. But yeah, I think this went pretty well. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Until the next time, I'll see you all later. Peace out.